call the meeting. This is Commissioner Wagner. I'm going to call the meeting of the Environmental Concerns Commission to order. And I'm going to say it's 7:11. And Commissioner Leishman, would you do the roll call?
Of course. Chairman Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Morey.
Here.
Commissioner Greco.
Here.
Commissioner Leishman here. And, sorry.
And we have our acting staff liaison, Vasily Voskadensky.
It's pretty close.
Did I do it better? Okay. And we also have Stephanie Barajas. Did I say that correctly? No.
Barajas.
Barajas? Barajas. Okay. So we're all in good company here. Okay. Okay.
And we have an excused absence this evening.
And we have an excused absence for Commissioner Chaconis. Okay, we have a quorum. I'm going to move on to item 2, public comment on agenda items. We do not have any public. Item 3, amendments to the agenda. Earlier today, I received an email from Ray Hoving, who's the, I'm going to call him the director for Salt Creek Sanitary District. And the district has a facilities plan, and their next phase is a phase 7 of their facilities plan. And there's also an issue that we have with stream bank stabilization. So the reason he contacted me was because the district is going to be submitting an application through the community funding projects, formerly called earmarks, to Congressman Sean Casten. That's for the stream bank stabilization. They're going to be submitting something to Senator Duckworth and Senator Durbin. And he asked if the commission would, not a letter of support, but just a consensus to support the project, those 2 projects. He would follow up with us with a formal letter if in the future. So I have some material that I can pass around. So what I'm asking for is someone to make a motion just to discuss those 2 things, phase 7 and then stream bank stabilization. And they both have environmental impacts.
So you'd like a motion to amend the agenda?
A motion to amend the agenda to include those 2 items.
So move.
So moved by Commissioner Hill.
And Commissioner Morey, sir.
Commissioner Morey seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we're gonna add an item J, which is just a consensus in support of those 2 items. Okay. I'm gonna move on to item 4, the consent agenda. Approval of the regular meeting minutes for February 22nd, 2024. Is there a motion to Commissioner Leishman? Made the motion?
No, I have a requested change on the minutes.
Okay.
The meeting did not take place at Sugar Creek Golf Course.
Oh dear, okay.
So you can make a motion to approve in a second, and then you can make your corrections.
Or we could table it until next meeting. Right.
Or just motion to approve it with that one change. It seems like you could do it all at once. Motion to approve the minutes with the location amended.
This is Commissioner Wagner. There are some minor typos in the minutes,
So you wanna table it?
misspellings. So I would be happy with us tabling it until April.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Leishman?
I would move that we table this item until our April meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, okay. All those in favor of tabling the minutes, approval of the minutes until our April meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
But just a question, if Ellen sends the minutes and if we note that there should be corrections, we should respond to her directly?
You're right, you're
And let
absolutely
her-
right,
and Let her
yeah.
know so she can revise the minutes and then we can move, okay. I gotta do a better job of that, because,
Let her know in time to change them
There's
before
not
the
a
meeting,
lot,
right,
there's not
yeah.
a lot, there's just a few things in there, so.
I gotta do a better job of that,
I didn't notice this issue until
yeah,
an hour ago.
right.
So
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll tell her we'll do better, because I know I fail.
And I should say, Ellen does a very good job, and, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5A, report of the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee.
yes, this is Commissioner Leishman. On tonight's episode of the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Committee, we discussed preparation for Bike Month, which is coming up in May. We've got 4 big events going on. We have North School Walk Bike to School Day on the 8th. We have a screening of The Engine Inside, which is a movie about how bicycles shape people's lives. That'll be on the 9th at the library at 6 p.m. Encourage everyone to come
6:30.
see. Sorry, 6:30 p.m. I have it there. I just read it wrong. Then on the 11th, we'll be teaching a smart cycling class over at Jefferson Pool. And finally, on the 15th, we'll be doing a ride of silence in remembrance of those that have lost their lives in collisions between bicycles and cars. So that's the big things we got going on in May. Then the other big agenda item for this month's meeting was we got our report card from the League of American Bicyclists regarding our bike-friendly community application. And so we were kind of going through some of the recommendations that the league made for improving our town and improving our chances of winning that recognition next time we apply. And so we recognize some things that we think we can improve on pretty easily. And I think next steps that we're going to take are we're going to compare those recommendations versus the recommendations of the Bike Master Plan from 2018 and really trying to hone in on some things that we can go to the board as well as staff with. And those are kind of the big things that we talked about tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Leishman, and I want to say special thanks to Sandy and Candace at the library for their help, with the providing the venue and assistance, and we're looking forward to showing.
Very good film.
Yeah, and we were even talking about maybe doing like a red carpet and something, since it is a premiere, but we'll see, so, okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item B, update on spring sweep. I'll just be very brief. We did have a planning meeting on March 20th. We've nailed down all the participating groups. One item, this was part of Commissioner Greco's recommendation, was to provide a TerraCycle receptacle for pens, markers, and mechanical pencils. And so I discovered that the receptacle at Public Works was full. They sent it off using the prepaid UPS thing. So later on in the agenda, there's an item to approve spending for a new TerraCycle container. So,
Oh, they didn't automatically get a new one when they sent it
well,
off?
they told us about, they told me about it,
Okay.
so, yeah, so
Do you know how long, well, we'll talk about it when it.
several years to fill that up, yeah. Yeah, 2 to 3 years, so. So, the next meeting will be, on April 17th at, 10 AM. And, I've heard from some groups that are interested, a couple new groups that are interested in volunteering. I did go to the Community Focus on Unifying Neighbors Commission, and I said, haven't seen you at a meeting, are you? And their response was kind of tepid. They said, well, we feel like we're just volunteers, and I said, we're all just volunteers. So they said they would send some volunteers to Spring Sweep, so that's all I have. And that concludes my report. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5.
Question.
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so, I never got a notification about the March meeting. I sent you an email, because I was at the previous meeting, I was at the February meeting.
Right, and I thought I responded to you.
I never got one. But
Okay, I
It
apologize.
is made, no problem, I wasn't, I was hoping that you would acknowledge with the email that, I will not be able to attend Spring Sweep this year.
Right,
Because my wife planned a family event that I can't get away from. But it was one of the groups that you mentioned, because I went to Troop 199 and asked them if they would like to participate, and they said they'd be interested, but I never heard back, so I was hoping they would have contacted you.
it's not, they didn't, but I can certainly ask them this coming Monday when I go to their meeting.
Yeah, okay.
One was the Ladies Auxiliary at St. Francis Church. I didn't even know they had a Ladies Auxiliary, but, so Vicky Fitzmaurice kind of volunteered them,
Nice.
the group, so. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on to, item 5C, update on no mow May policy change. And Commissioner Leishman and I were kind of working on the final wording for our recommendation. And I don't know if you got my email.
I did.
sent it to you and Mark. And Stephanie, pronounce your last name for me again.
Barajas?
Barajas. Is Stephanie, do you work in community development, or are you?
Yes.
You do, okay.
I'm the planner in the department.
Okay, so there was some interesting information that Stephanie sent over to me, because we had questions. Director McLaughlin has sent over like a planting list, and Stephanie clarified for me that that list is not necessarily for residential properties. So do you want to just kind of provide your input to us?
Yeah, I can give you kind of a little walkthrough of the list. So basically the reason for the list is that in our zoning ordinance in the landscaping and screening section, it's section 9.1, it says a community development director is authorized to establish a permitted, preferred, and prohibited plant list. This same section also says that the regulations only apply to new non-residential developments and all multifamily developments of 3 or more units. There's some exceptions for existing developments if they're doing extensive site work, but for the most part it's for developments, and it does not include any residential properties. So really this list is a guide for us as we're reviewing new development or complex projects to have, a list that is native plantings, pollinators. All of these plantings are native or non-invasive to northeastern Illinois. and they're built for the plant hardiness zones of 5B and 6A. So that was kind of where we got to actually adopt the list. This list, Mark worked with Morton Arboretum to curate just specifically for the area that we're in. And it's broken down by common name, then the scientific name. You'll see on there that there's also the cultivars, which are hybrids or genetically modified so that they're resistant to disease. So all elms on the list are cultivars, so they're resistant to the Dutch elm disease. And then also part of the list is where they can actually be planted, so we can ensure that they actually survive. All are allowed on private property. So again, we encourage the use of this list for residential, but it's not required. And we don't review landscape plans for residents. They kind of just use creative freedom for gardening. But you can see just specifically on the types of things, like there's trees that are good for being planted under wires. Normally they're like ornamental trees. They won't grow so tall that once they get to the wires, they'll do a weird split. And then there's also salt-tolerant plantings for parking lots. They're good for landscape islands and they're good street trees, but this is not a list for parkway trees. That's Public Works. They have their own list.
True.
So this is all on private side. And then towards the end of the list, there's a preferred plant species list. It's not a requirement. It's just if they're looking for shrubs or more stuff like that. Since we ask for a variety of plantings, they can refer to this. It's a majority are pollinators. Mark consulted with the National Wildlife Federation to compile this list. And then us as the village, we cannot limit creativity for planting beds, but we can recommend better ones or to use better plantings. I spoke to our code enforcement inspector, Mick Volk, and he said rule of thumb is manicured or managed, no noxious plants, and no overhang into the right-of-way. So, and one more is that this is per the zoning code, vegetable gardens and garden structures are not allowed in street yards. So that's kind of the difference between.
So they did pass that right to garden law in the General Assembly, so
That's the one that I'll have to talk to our village attorney to see how that one fits in with our code, especially because there is that requirement that prohibits vegetable gardens and such in front yards.
because I can think of Commissioner Wagner, I can think of a specific example where a resident had a raised garden in their front yard. It was well kept, but they were made to get rid of it. And the reason they had it in their front yard is because their backyard did not, because of trees, et cetera, they didn't have sufficient lighting, so. And then with respect to the way, if someone have native plants in the front yard, you said there was like a 3 foot, is that the? Okay.
So, and that is in what we call the visibility triangle.
In the what?
Visibility triangle, so
okay.
that would include driveways and intersections if it's a corner lot. For intersections, you kind of start at the corner of the intersection and it's 20 feet both ways, and that's how you connect your triangle. For driveways, it's the edge of the property line, 10 feet out and 10 feet along the driveway, and that's how you connect or you create your triangle. So in those specific areas, they cannot exceed 3 feet just for visibility purposes.
So this Commissioner Rainer, so some native grasses can get higher than 3 feet. But as long as they're not within that triangle, if they're permitted.
Yeah, so you would make sure that they're just not in that area, just in the design of the landscape area.
And then there has to be a specific border for so in other words, if someone wanted to turn their whole front yard into native landscaping, they would have to have some sort of distinguishable border?
So, for my conversation with our code enforcement inspector, he said the border kind of makes that separation from the right-of-way line. That way there is absolutely no overhang into it.
Gotcha.
So is there an easy way to communicate if somebody wanted to do native plants, some native plants in their front yard?
Mhm.
Is there an easy way to communicate that? Is there, I mean, visibility triangle, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's, I mean, it's, you got your code, your ordinances, but then
Sure,
what do
you
you?
can create a brochure of some sort with a couple of graphics.
Images, the graphics really help.
Yes.
And we do have them already in the code for, it's in our, I believe it's in our fence section. So, is it in the fence?
Pretty sure you're
Section
right.
9, right?
Yes.
So, it's already, the images for both visibility triangles are already in there. So we'd just borrow that, and putting together a brochure would be very helpful.
And Stephanie, what section is that in the code again?
Section 9.
Section 9.
Site design.
And then talks about the visibility. Gotcha.
It's of appendix C, right?
So it's Appendix C, that's the zoning ordinance, and then it is Article 9, site design and performance standards. And there's a specific section, it's 9.3.
Can you plant native plants on the parkway?
Negative.
So you have like enough, so there's not enough space for a tree because of the lack of, maybe it's less than 3 feet. So you couldn't put native plants or flowers by the telephone pole or the ugly sign. Just saying. I see it in Rockford all the time and it looks really nice. So it's just one of those.
I had a conversation with Michael Guerra, Public Works Director. Let me revisit it. I have to refresh my memory what exactly he said. He wasn't very supportive of this idea.
When I talked to Mike, our code enforcement inspector, he basically said the same thing, like the parkway is what you cannot touch.
So we can't, no planting is in the parkway.
Well, there goes.
You'll
the-
double check.
I will double check.
Okay,
Next
because I
meeting,
know-
I'll let you know.
You go to Rockford, you see it
I know
right by
that a
the
lot of
telephone
people,
poles, right by the-
many people do it.
Yes, it's done.
But Rockford might have different codes, so,
Sure,
yeah.
but
Um,
can ours be a little looser to allow?
It would be nice, yeah. There's some pretty ugly, yeah.
I think at that point, Public Works would have to establish an approved
Yes.
plantings list.
Because I couldn't get a tree put in my parkway.
Oh, it's not wet enough.
Yeah.
Uh,
So our recommendation was to change what the village board did to make it end at Mother's Day. And could you say a little bit about the difficulties that the current policy has created for you?
So it was more on the code enforcement side. The fact that No Mow May went for so long, it adds weeks to the process, but after the official date that it ends. We send notices or violation notices, and we give them a certain amount of days to respond, and then if they don't respond, we follow up, and that whole process just took a very, very long time, and it was a lot of staff time that went through well into June. I'm not sure exactly when it stopped.
According to the manager, when I spoke with him, it finished like the week before July 4th. So, right before the parade.
And
Especially now, there is some staff changes in community development. I think they're down to one property maintenance inspector.
yes,
Right? So it's gonna be not possible.
So Lori has left,
Mick got promoted, I believe, and Lori is the sole property maintenance.
oh, I
inspector.
see, okay.
yes, and then there was a lot of phone calls of people saying, "Oh, my neighbor hasn't cut their grass in this long," even though No Mow May, I think a lot of people didn't know that it was going on and were worried. So I think the signage that you had said in the letter will definitely help. Just bring more attention to it, or awareness.
And I did send it to the manager so as well, well, are there any other questions for Stephanie?
Sorry, I know this is taking a few steps back, but it's your understanding that like vegetables cannot be planted in front of the house?
Correct.
Okay.
That is explicitly prohibited
Okay.
in the zoning ordinance.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that would be any street yard. So front or corner side.
Sure. Any side that faces the street. Okay.
Well, we'll look forward to this coming on the village board agenda. I know it's, yeah,
So is that gonna be on the April 8th agenda then, do you think?
I would hope so, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be, and it'll be up to the village board to, make the change.
Has our recommendation been shared with them?
It's been shared with the manager.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any more questions?
So I
for me?
think it would be, once it is on the agenda, it certainly would be appropriate if we wanted to, as individual commissioners, register our opinion. Okay, anything further? Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for
Thank
coming. We
you.
appreciate it. We don't usually get this much attention. We appreciate Vasily being here, but,
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next item on our agenda, item 5D, selection of the 2023 Green Champion Award recipient. And I did check our email, I checked with manager's office, we only have one nominee. And this was in Village Manners, it appeared twice in the Villa Park Review, prominently. I did go to a village board meeting to publicize it. I mentioned it at a couple other venues, so it wasn't for lack of trying. So I did bring just the copy that Ellen submitted. There's a small typo here, she's got great goal.
Go on.
Well, yeah. So the nominee is Kevin Goss, who is the groundskeeper at Sugar Creek Golf Course. And we as a commission did tour their stream bank restoration. And she has it as the category as conservation of natural resources, green product use, outreach, and education. And I think Kevin and the Salt Creek Golf Course would certainly appreciate receiving the award. So I guess first of all, I'll entertain a motion to make Kevin Goss our Green Champion Award for 2023.
I so move.
Moved by Commissioner Hill, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Amore. Okay, is there any discussion?
So the award would go to Kevin Goss and the Sugar Creek Golf Course, or just Kevin Goss? It was.
It's not, the way it's here, it's the nominee's name and contact information, so Kevin Goss is the recipient.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
driving the innovation
I
at
mean,
the
he's the
golf
one that
course,
did
so-
it, he's, yeah, I think it happened because of him,
Okay.
so,
Point of clarity, is this the 2023 Green Champion or the 2024 Green Champion?
it's the 2023,
Okay.
because it's always the prior year,
Okay. Thank you.
because we're still in 2024 and there may be other,
We have to find a green champion for this.
what's that?
We haven't found a green champion yet for 2024.
Right, exactly. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of making Kevin Goss our 2023 Green Champion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we will, I will go ahead and get the plaque made, and I didn't put that on the agenda, so.
Would you like a motion under the D to purchase the plaque?
Yes, I think we should probably add that to the agenda, purchase it. Well, you know what, we can, since we're on Green Champion, we can talk about that.
It's fine.
Exactly. That's what I mean, it falls under the topic.
Yeah, so I think we went through positive impressions last time, the last two times. The plaque, it's not gonna be more than I'm gonna say $130. So if someone would, I'd entertain a motion to approve spending not to exceed $130 for a plaque for the Green Champion Award.
I so move.
Moved by Commissioner Hill,
I second.
seconded by Commissioner Greco. Any discussion?
Only discussion point that I have, this isn't directly related to the Green Champion Award, but regarding the commission's finances, the commission did not end up purchasing the banner for Spring Sweep. That is
Right.
coming out of a separate fund. So if people are concerned about where the money for this, we have money.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say we have adequate funds. I didn't talk to our finance director, but we have adequate funds to cover this.
Yeah.
So would it be appropriate to, just a question, Commissioner Moore, for the wording on the plaque to say Kevin Goss from Sugar Creek Golf Course or groundskeeper or something like that to reference
Sugar Creek Golf Course Project?
why he's getting the award so that people won't just know. Because most people, if it wasn't on this commission, I wouldn't know who that is because I'm not a golfer,
Right.
you know.
You took the tour, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I think we have some latitude on the plaque. I mean, I can say Kevin Goss, groundskeeper, Sugar Creek Golf Course. You know, I would certainly have Sugar Creek because it didn't come out of Kevin's pocket.
That's what I'm thinking.
It came out of the budget, which is provided by the village and Elmhurst Park District. So, yeah, I mean, we have latitude there. It's a plaque. I'll make sure it references both. When he leaves, is he going to take it with him? Who knows?
I'll probably hand it to him.
Right.
Yeah, we could do something like Kevin Goss, his title, and then Sugar Creek Golf Course. Just
Right.
to make sure that.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll get the plaque made and I'll get with the manager's office to schedule the presentation. It's probably gonna be,
22nd?
it could be on April 22nd, which is a Monday, and Earth Day.
Day, yep.
So that would be an appropriate time, so we'll shoot for that.
Do we normally notify the recipient prior to that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, I'll notify him and make sure that he's able to attend the meeting. And we've had a good success, Ken Jacobson was there, the folks from
WashU.
WashU were there, yeah, we've pretty much always had recipients on hand to get the award. The owners of Pioneer,
Oh, Rojak?
yeah, the Rojects were there, yeah. So, yeah, I'll make sure that happens. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5E, Arbor Day tree planting. And this is, every year we do our, we purchase a tree, mature tree sapling. And I did reach out to Brian Roach, Rich Salerno, and Greg Gola. just earlier in the week to say, Arbor Day is rolling around, it's Friday, April 26th. We need your help in selecting a tree and a site for the tree. I did not hear back. Yes,
I have insight. Mike Guerrero has talked about putting the tree at the library to replace the two that were,
Obliterated.
yes.
oh yeah,
So they have been talking about that, so,
I think that's a great place for the tree.
yeah, yeah. And then we'll move the little gnome house, the fairy house to
Do the what?
base- We'll move the gnome or fairy house to the
Oh
new tree.
dear, yeah.
It's still there.
Who did that? Who?
Just somebody who was wanting. It was, everybody likes it, so.
Yeah, I know, I love that little gnome house, and I'm
Okay.
not that kind of sentimental person, though.
Yeah.
I seem to be getting more so as I get older, but
But that is our hope, because those two trees had to be taken down. Yep, so.
Okay,
yeah, I saw how hollow that stump was.
Yeah,
so we'll certainly, I can certainly lobby to have it in front of the library. That's,
yeah, I think Mike was there.
so I'm trying to recall, last year we planted a bur oak and we planted it at North Terrace Park. And we've planted trees there before. I think the prior year we did it on the Prairie Path.
So what are some literary trees?
He mentioned an oak, and I'd be in favor of an oak.
That would be cool.
Yeah, oak is one of your best pollinators, I think, so. An oak would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked at prior emails and we usually spend around $275.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, for a mature tree. And they handle everything. They purchase a tree for us. They dig the hole. They give us chrome-plated shovels, so we look like we're digging a hole.
Can I suggest that we up it to 300 this year with everything, price increases all
Yeah,
across
we-
the board?
Yeah, we can say $300, not to exceed. So I'll entertain a motion to spend $300 for our Arbor Day tree, not to exceed $300.
I'll, motion that we
Okay.
do that.
Motion by Commissioner Greco,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Morey. Okay, is there any discussion? Commissioner Leishman.
Since there are 2 trees removed at the library, is there any appetite to plant 2 trees?
My understanding is, when I talked to Mike a little bit about it, is that the two trees that were cut down, they cannot be planted in between there yet. Something about the roots, so it has to go further.
They didn't stump him yet, did they?
Yeah, they didn't stump it yet, yeah. So it's gotta go further north. I would say yes, we would love to have more trees on the parkway, but we'd be happy right now with one. So, and let the village catch up on their stump grinding and all of that. So.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we have to talk about trying to figure out, because of the cicada season, trying to protect,
You'd have to be meshed.
yes, do some meshing.
Or postpone the planting until after cicada season? Can a tree be planted that late?
So we read about it, somebody reached out about the whole concept. It's so difficult to implement, it's almost impossible. You have to net the whole tree with specific netting, because what they do like little cuts on the little branches. So most likely it will survive.
I'm sorry, most likely what?
Most likely the trees will survive
Okay,
without netting. I mean, there is a chance that they will die, but it's
Okay.
just nature.
So there's no reason to postpone planting it either. Okay.
But would they consider at least a partial mesh around the main trunk, or just a,
The main trunk is not affected. They curl up and they go in the branches, and then where they lay their eggs, they do that little cut.
But it's all on the low branches where they lay the eggs?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
this Commissioner Wagner, I did not know that cicadas were a threat to trees.
Yeah, they make just a slight
young trees?
cut. Yeah.
Oh,
To
okay,
only to young trees,
only to young trees, okay, I see.
The older ones can withstand
for sure.
the damage, yeah.
Are the trees guaranteed for a year?
So I didn't hear what you said.
If they had a warranty,
Is there a warranty? I mean,
Probably
is it-
not. I don't,
Okay.
at least not this year.
Right, I mean, or is it null and void if cicadas are due out? Just asking.
Well, you wouldn't know, so.
Yes.
yeah,
Fruit
for a
trees
year.
normally come with a warranty.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know about oaks
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the cicada apocalypse.
you know what?
Well,
In the cicada apocalypse.
Yeah,
Okay.
though we're not in the zone that's gonna get both.
Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's southern, the left farther south where the overlap is.
Yeah.
I may take a drive down there because that is gonna be so trippy.
They said for people to live in that area, don't put away your snow shovel yet,
Oh.
because you'll be clearing a lot of carcasses.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What if it jams up the blades in a snowblower?
Okay, so,
Sorry.
I think since there's no further discussion, all those in favor of spending not to exceed $300 on a tree for Arbor Day, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll get that rolling, and hopefully we can plant it in front of the library. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5F. Purchase of TerraCycle pens, pencils, and markers waste box. And as I mentioned before, we had,
That was years ago that was put over there, right?
what's that?
That was years ago that was put it.
That was years ago. Jessica, what was Jessica's last name?
Spivak.
Spivak. Jessica got it, and so, yeah, it was 3 or 4 years to fill that up. But what we'd like to do is put it out for spring sweep so people can bring their pens.
Bottom line, how much is it?
Bottom line is, you can get varying sizes. I think the size that we got was like $150.
Is that the biggest one?
It's not the biggest one, no.
But it lasted us a couple of years.
It lasted
so
quite a few years, so I think that's adequate.
I think that's, yeah, and whether we bring it out or we have a separate box and we just dump it in there, but.
Right.
But yeah, okay, I motion that we spend the approximately $150. Should we do a not to exceed 200?
Yeah.
That's probably a
Just to be
good idea.
In case it's gone up, or shipping or
I did go to
something.
the TerraCycle website, and there is quite an array of different recycling boxes you can get.
I'll have to check out.
Yeah,
that out.
I would encourage you to look at that. Yeah, $200 is gonna more than cover it, and it comes with a prepaid label, so once it's filled, all you have to do is ship it.
Do we have a second?
You got a second.
Yeah, no, we don't have a second yet. Oh,
got a
you made
second.
I motioned.
Motion? I
okay,
seconded.
seconded by Hill, okay.
And then my only discussion is, will we still place it permanently in the Public Works, the same place it was?
I think that's the best place for it, yeah.
And just let people know it's there, part
Right,
of our
exactly.
ongoing outreach, yeah.
Right, right, exactly.
I put a shoebox at work, I'm gonna try to collect it.
Okay, any further discussion on the TerraCycle box? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will go with that spending. Okay, the next item I put on the agenda, item 5G, Conservation Foundation River Sweep. And for many, many years, the commission participated in River Sweep. But ironically and coincidentally, it fell on the same day as Spring Sweep, so we couldn't participate. But this year they've changed it. For those of you who have not participated in River Sweep, it's basically you're climbing up and down the stream bank and collecting,
Which
debris.
stream?
Huh?
Which stream?
That's, well,
Right?
Salt Creek, I think, is the most appropriate. So what we used to do is our staging area was Cricket Creek,
Yeah.
and we would work south, and we would work around the former Odium.
Oh,
it
so
was-
we get to pick the location.
We get to pick the location.
Ah, okay, that's what I didn't, there
I
was my
mean, we could
disconnect.
we could do Sugar Creek, we could do whatever we want, we could,
They used to, what, kayak down the creek to try to pick up?
one year I brought my canoe,
Right,
a couple years I brought my canoe.
right.
Cause there's hard to reach items. I think the very first year that I did it was with, Kiwanis. I
There used to be students from Addison Trail that got in, Addison Trail?
Addison Trail, they used to get a whole bunch of canoes and they would go down
Yep.
down,
Too fun.
Salt Creek,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where did you launch from?
Well, there's a launch at Cricket Creek. And then there's another canoe launch at Eldridge Park in Elmhurst.
I know that one. That's right at Butterfield.
What's that?
It's right at Butterfield, I know that one.
Right, yeah, right at Butterfield, exactly. So I wanted to know if there's a consensus. Appetite, exactly. I'm gonna tell you, it's not like cleaning the prairie path.
No, it's not.
It is not like cleaning the prairie path.
I need my waiters.
Um,
It was
I've got
raining,
something
it
on
was
my
raining
calendar
the
for
last
that
time we
day,
did
so-
it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Raining cats and
and
dogs.
one year we found, right by the Odeum, we found a car.
Wow.
And the police and the fire department came, and it was an old car, because trees had grown up where, but they had to check the trunk
Right, of course.
to see,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Betty and I have a shared calendar. She's got Scarce's Growing Green Garden Market for that day, from 8 a.m.
I'm sorry, say again?
My wife has got,
Catholic, yeah.
Scarce has a Growing Green Garden Market.
Okay.
on
Oh,
that
okay.
date.
What
Starting at
time
from
do you
8 to
usually
2.
do it from when to when? I ask because it's prom night. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be a chaperone, so I have to be presentable by 5 o'clock.
So it normally goes from 9 a.m. to noon. I
There's
mean,
enough time.
um,
I don't spend hours on
Conservation
my makeup.
Foundation provides us with bags and grabbers. And there's a waiver we have to sign. So if folks wanna think about it, we could, I think there's still time in April to participate if we want to. I'm gonna participate because,
You go.
yeah,
It was, last time I went out, it was messy, I got sick, and I'm like, okay, I don't know
Yeah.
about this.
I'm not gonna do it again.
But it may not be as, I just remember the year before, it was raining, trying to climb down the banks
it's not easy.
near Ovaltine.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
not,
amount of-
it's, you're gonna get a good workout.
Yeah, it's, and the
Yeah.
amount of stuff that used to be thrown in that creek,
Yeah,
the
we found
truckers.
some stuff,
yeah. It's like,
I won't go
God.
into specifics, but they,
You wanna wear gloves.
yeah, the ODM
Yeah.
used to use, like truckers park their trucks there. And they were, that's all I'll say.
That was bad.
No, I know.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this back for our April agenda and we can discuss that then.
It actually sounds like fun to me, even though you're not selling it, Sandy.
Just warning you, be prepared for a good workout.
It sounds like fun to me as well. My only concern is that it is another event in May. And we are
That's true,
doing-
we don't wanna
A lot
get
of
burnt,
things
we don't
in
wanna
May.
burn, we don't wanna get burnt out,
Between Bike Month and Spring Sweep,
right, yeah,
That is a very good point.
that's my concern.
And
okay.
prom.
Where does Salt Creek in Villa Park extend to? Is it just by Rotary? Because once it goes down that walk under the bridge, that's Elmhurst, right?
Cause we do have that section of Villa Park on the other side of Route 83 as well.
So for sure, next to the Odeum
Right.
property, then it's not us. Well, it's a forest preserve of DuPage County. I believe it's still Villa Park in terms of municipal boundaries.
Okay.
Because I remember they contacted us, they had to do something next to the what is that hotel on 83?
Oh,
So Salt Creek Sanitary District is in Villa Park,
Right.
and we
That's
have a
direct.
significant stretch that goes from the Prairie Path all the way to Elmhurst Public Works. That's
Okay.
part of Villa Park.
Well, and then you have Elmhurst Treatment Facility, and then from Washington all the way to, is it Madison? It's Villa Park on the east side, so
Yeah.
half of the creek, I guess, technically ours.
I guess I would say that it would be interesting to explore other sections besides,
Right, exactly.
right, and see where the.
You know, you could also do a cleanup on Sugar Creek.
Right.
I mean, I would bet you along by Willowbrook, there's
Right.
probably some cleanup that could be done.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm gonna bring it back next month, and if folks wanna think about it,
And go look at areas.
yeah.
now I do sometimes walk around Willowbrook, and the creek there stays pretty clean. I don't know if the ground staff at the school keeps it clean or what, but it's probably not a priority right at the school, on the school property.
Maybe by Walmart, the area is kind of a little bit.
Yeah,
more
Walmart would be
overgrown.
an area. I mean, you
yeah.
could do a small stretch.
Yes.
What about the Jackson Fields? Do those detention areas need to be cleaned out? I mean, that's in a way a tributary.
It was a horrible design of the restrictor. So the overflow pond, which is off of High Ridge right now, is holding about 3 feet of water. So we tried different things last week actually, and we kind of had it flowing again, but it's clogged up again. So we're gonna set up a pump and pump it down most likely because we need to change the design of the restrictor. You can't really do anything there right now because it's full of water. Not full, but there is about 2.5 to 3 feet.
Okay.
The other one is naturally, it's designed to hold 6 inches of water, but it was planted with natives last fall, so I wouldn't probably go there. There is a predator barriers throughout the
There's what?
Predator.
predator
bears.
barrier.
Predator
Like a-
barriers.
The geese. It's gonna be hard to walk around there. as of now.
Okay. Okay, we'll bring this back next month. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5H, update on community research on climate and urban science. I did contact Robin Grange, and
She's
this
out.
afternoon to say, have you made a decision? Can you give us some information? And her response is, I'm in a meeting, I'll get back with you by the end of the day, and I never heard back from her, so I suspect they haven't made a decision yet, so I just thought I'd keep this on the agenda.
And Robin Grange is at Argonne.
Robert Grange at Argonne, exactly.
Robert Grange?
Robin, Robyn,
Okay.
and Grange, Grange.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5I, community outreach. Summer festival is coming up on June 22nd. I did get an application from Parks and Recreation, and just wanted to know if the commission would like to have a table again. We usually, it starts at 11 o'clock, and we usually go to 5. We don't, because that's when usually the vendors are shut down.
I
So,
would think we would want a table, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and I think the
What
bicycle
was the date?
subcommittee can have
What's
a
that?
What was the date
presence
again?
there
June
too.
22.
Saturday, June 22nd.
So should I make a motion that we plan on
You know, I
being
think
there?
just a consensus is fine, just I'll fill out the application just so we have a space. Okay, if there's no objections, I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the last item on our agenda, 5J. And so I mentioned that there's two different things. The first one, that we're asking for funding. There's different funding sources. One is the community funding project, which used to be called earmarks. That's to Sean Caston's office. This is and I would mention that I did walk the stream bank with Jim Listwin on Monday. And this just kind of details the erosion that's taking place. Salt Creek takes a bend there, and there's quite a bit of erosion. And when the creek gets high, it overflows. And so this stabilization would help prevent that kind of that kind of overflow, and it does affect the operation of the plant.
Does it affect homes in the area too?
What's that?
Does it affect homes in the area?
Not in Villa Park.
No,
It does.
because across, but you're right.
But we should care a little bit about Elm.
There actually is, right across the creek is Elmhurst.
Yeah.
And there is, Jim pointed out to me, a storage structure for one of the homes, and these are nice homes, quite close to the erosion. I mean, it could at some point fall into the creek.
Well, that was their fault for putting it there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if you want to look this over. It's a lengthy document. So what the district is asking for is just a support. Because at some point, they may come back to us to say, here's a letter, would you sign off on the letter?
Now, are there environmental reasons other than to prevent flooding? I mean,
Well, so if the plant gets flooded, it does affect the operation of the plant.
oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, you could, if the flooding got bad enough, you could have untreated sewage going into the,
I think that's a good enough
creek.
reason to support it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the village's outfall, one of the village's outfalls is right there.
Yeah, we have a few, yeah, probably.
Yeah. In the report, it says it's for the wet weather flow treatment plant, but Jim said that's not necessarily the case.
No, we outfall to Salt Lake Central District.
Yeah,
There is
it's,
a bypass, I believe. If we can't, I shouldn't say anything, I don't know exactly.
yeah, well, there are three outfalls, and one is right there on the northern end of the district. So Jim said it was the villages.
On this stabilization, I remember when we did that tour of the golf course and Kevin Goss was explaining how it had been this concrete and over time it needed maintenance. And so he's replaced it with a more natural form of stabilization. I don't know a lot about the mechanics or the engineering, but is there a way to ensure that this is done in a more natural way that requires less maintenance down the road?
So this stabilization.
Like if we sign off on it,
I'll
can
pass
we-
this around. So this stabilization includes structures, but includes native plantings, because you can see where the tree roots are undercut. of the
right,
stream.
so,
Yeah.
but still, I mean, is the engineering design, is there a way to ensure that it's like I said, because I don't know what's appropriate, so I don't know how to put it in words.
No, I know what you're saying. So
Yeah.
stabilization, yeah, so it's a combination of structures and plantings. And
Right.
it's kind of a lengthy document. I can pass it around if you want.
But how do we know that they're gonna use the best practices with long-term costs considered? That's my concern. And like I said, I don't have the engineering knowledge to put this into words,
Yeah.
but, you know, you can tell me all day long what they're gonna do, and I don't know if it's the best way or not.
Right.
So anyway, I mean, but is there a way to kind of ensure or, I don't know, specify?
I mean, so is this type of project, is it reviewed by the Illinois Environmental, help me out, Illinois Environmental?
The IEPA.
Yes, it's gonna be reviewed by them.
It's not, it's covered,
It's not.
stream bank stabilization is covered under a regional permit from DNR, so
Oh, the Department
Yeah,
of
I
Natural
was, I
Resources?
was gonna just mention that, so 10 or 12 years ago, what the plant did, the treatment facility, we talked about stream bank stabilization, you probably saw, there was a bunch of riprap, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's some has been done. There's riprap there.
About 10 or 12 years ago. Riprap is a natural, pretty good stream bank stabilization application because, you know, if something erodes underneath, it kind of collapses on itself and just.
Oh, okay.
The good example would be on a high school District 88 property at Willowbrook, the bend before the Ardmore Bridge. The concrete collapsed there and they replaced it with riprap. So you can see it, it's pretty few years ago. We talked with Salt Creek Sanitary District about this project, permitting, and all of a sudden it just happened with no permits, no review, nothing. So they have a very good consultant this time around. They reach out to me all the time.
Fair Graham.
Yeah. So they know what they're doing, so I assume it's not gonna happen without proper documentation at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
that puts me a little, I'm more comfortable with than
But
signing off on it.
in terms of review process, it will likely, since it's covered under the regional permit, it will likely be reviewed by our consultant, engineering consultant, V3 companies.
Gotcha.
All right,
The villages
Villages
consultant?
consultant, yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to go to IDNR or any other entity.
So somebody will be reviewing it.
And the other thing that we're asking for, or Ray is asking for, the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group, because of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, there is some more stringent requirements with regards to the removal of phosphorus.
I-
Yeah, I know, and phosphorus is a main cause of algae blooms. And a lot of it occurs because of, and the Gulf of Mexico is an example, that dead zone is a result of maybe the overuse of fertilizers along the Mississippi watershed that in turn causes,
tie that back to this project for me.
well, so we have to do a more stringent removal of phosphorus from,
We as in Salt Creek.
we as in Salt Creek Sanitary District. And it's gonna be a very expensive project. There's some other things involved.
Where's the phosphorus coming from?
The phosphorus is coming from the,
Fertilizer.
yeah, but it's coming
So
from,
the Salt Creek Sanitary District is releasing phosphorus into the stream, is that what
well,
you're
the
telling me?
phosphorus is in what we're processing.
Okay,
It's in the,
it's what they take in, right,
it's
yeah.
what the ECHO, it's what we get. And so the IEPA is having more stringent requirements with regards to phosphorus. So,
Are they tacking that onto this?
no, it's two separate projects,
Two separate projects?
right?
And then they've got like 4 treatments in here. Are they needing
Right.
all 4? Because this one says, well, this is recommended for this area, but then they have treatment B C and D, which, I don't know.
So you know what?
Okay.
Maybe what I should do
You
is, I'd be happy to send these documents to you.
Yeah.
You know, rather than try and say, okay, we're going to, say we support your project, maybe you need to know more about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, I agree with that, I think that's probably the way to go.
Right.
Well, it's just request for funding, I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
So, what this is a letter or an application that's gonna go to Senator Durbin, it's gonna go to Senator Duckworth. And the district is looking for support. And that's why Ray reached out to me, he said, would the commission be interested in,
They want us to say, yeah, we like it.
No, I would say.
I am perfectly fine making a motion to say that it would be bad if Salt Creek Sanitary District overflowed into Salt Creek,
right,
which it seems like that's what they're asking for right now.
right.
We're not engineering experts. We don't
Yeah,
need to endorse
exactly.
this.
Right, yeah.
Well, but it.
Okay, I see your point. Yeah.
So we're,
But
yeah,
I
so
will
we're,
say that I don't see an actual recommendation on a couple of those treatments. It's like,
I don't
that's,
think Sean Caston will come back and like hold you accountable.
No,
I will
it's going to be the shed in Elmhurst.
right,
It's his shed.
Yeah.
yeah.
But we
He
don't-
probably knows somebody.
I was gonna say, but
So this is
I will
about the
second
phosphorus,
that motion.
this is our phase 7.
Okay,
Right,
but
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
will second
let's
that
keep
motion.
keep them separate, please.
Yes, yeah,
I-
so, okay, I
I,
will.
I would like to make a motion for us to achieve support the project
Seeking funding,
to
seek funds.
seek funds to sure
Support
up
the prevention of
Salt Creek.
the overflow, right.
I will just make one,
Phrase that however you like.
I'll just make one point.
yes.
So we have the ability to levy property taxes, we don't.
Yes.
It's all based on user fees.
Right.
So any money that we get from the federal government that helps fund
It's
the
all
project,
good.
it's all good.
Yes,
It's all good.
I'm in
It's all
support
good.
of getting federal funding for this.
I will make a motion that the Environmental Concerns Commission endorses the Salt Creek Sanitary District going and asking federal legislators for this money for this shoreline project.
Okay,
I second that motion.
Shoreline Stabilization.
Yeah.
Okay,
it
good,
simple.
done. Motion
Okay.
and second.
okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Still say they need-
And now I'll move on to the other one. This is the same thing. We're asking for federal funding to help with our phase 7. So we're in our phase 6 project. This is the phase 6 project is to upgrade our UV
Okay,
to disinfect.
yes,
And prior to using UV, we use chlorine, which is nasty, can be carcinogenic.
so it's 7.
So
Phase seven.
the phase 7 project is part of our facility plan. Among other things, is is to address more stringent requirements for the removal of phosphorus.
Do you want me to make that motion? I will make that motion that we support federal funding of
Okay.
phase 7.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Leachman. Is there any further discussion? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Could you tell me about the engineering on it?
No, there is no engineer.
Aye.
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 Okay,
Opposed?
you're opposed? Okay. Opposed, okay.
I want the phosphorus. It makes it bubbly and
I appreciate
tastes
it.
better.
Next time I come, I'm gonna bring a book that I have on phosphorus.
Okay.
It's called The Devil's Element.
Oh.
It's,
Yeah, the soda
nasty.
stream.
Yeah, it's nasty. Okay, I appreciate it, thank you. I know I sprung this on everyone at the last minute.
Federal funding to
Yeah.
get projects done.
Yes.
Good.
We're approving
Yes.
federal funding to get projects done.
Perfect.
If we get the funding, you can go,
There you go.
We did
Oh,
it.
We did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 6, public comments on non-agenda items, there's no public. Item 7, commissioner comments, Commissioner Leishman.
Yeah, I've got 2 comments tonight. First, earlier this week, I had the privilege of attending a fireside chat with the Active Transportation Alliance and their lobbyist in Springfield. So they were talking about, just in general what lobbying is like, but also some of the legislative goals for this year. I think I mentioned it previously in my comments, but there's kind of 2 things that Active Transportation is focusing on right now. A bill relating to greenhouse gas emissions from transportation, which is actually the #1 source of greenhouse gases in Illinois. And then a second bill related to funding the RTA and Metra and PACE and all that as we approach the fiscal cliff.
That sounds all.
So it's my understanding from what the lobbyist said that those 2 initiatives, as well as a third bill relating to electric vehicles, are now being combined into one omnibus bill.
Oh dear.
And because of the size of this bill, it is likely that it will not be voted on until either the veto session in the fall or the lame duck session after the election. But they should have a press conference with more details in April. So that was my first comment. The other thing I want to talk about, the library is currently doing a book club in April. Their Just the Facts nonfiction club is talking about Paved Paradise, which is a book about how mandatory parking minimums shape basically everything about urban and suburban design, and kind of the consequences that we're suffering because of that. And I signed up for it today. I would encourage anyone else that cares about urban design to do the same. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Hill?
So I had a resident, and I can't remember who, but they were asking me about the bike event that we used to have in the community bike ride. So do you think that is something that we can resurrect once all the trail work is done? Because you got the trike trail.
Ooh, that would be a great, like,
Hookup with that.
have the ribbon cutting with a community ride
Right.
after or the following weekend. Because usually ribbon cuttings are during the week, but
Right.
that following weekend, a ride would be awesome.
Yeah, they were saying how much they missed it. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
We only did one that I remember, and then D45 did their trail ride thing 2 years ago.
And then so I was involved with that, if you remember Deb Bullwinkle, she was kind of started it.
Yep.
We had a committee, I think we did it for 4 or 5 years.
Right,
And then it just kind of
petered away.
faded away. So I think having a community bike ride is a great idea. Having a yearly community bike ride.
Right. Anyway.
That's certainly something that bike pedestrian and transit could take up.
Should we put it on the agenda for the next meeting? I think it-
We're putting too much stuff on the,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have a very busy May planned because of the 4 events.
yeah.
So maybe get it on the agenda for June, like the June agenda,
We can
to
put
talk about it, not to make it happen.
We can
but to
put it
talk
on
about
the agenda for May because everything else is earlier in the month. But yeah.
But I think not this year for sure, but maybe think about it for next year. It was in August several times. I remember, like one year it was on my anniversary.
Yeah.
Unpredictable a little bit, but when they restart, there is not much. Well, there is work left for sure, but maybe months and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
So I did go to the Brookfield bike group. They have a really nice, in fact, one of their founders is on the board for Active Transportation Alliance. And I think it might be the first Friday of the month, they have a bike ride. They have a slow bike ride. And I went for one of it. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
So maybe we don't have to have a big community bike ride. Maybe we could have a monthly slow roll, that everyone can participate in. I don't know.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Well, I think you should focus on your walking club. If we're gonna do something slow for seniors, I think
Yeah.
you should focus on the walking club because
Good
of our
idea.
limited
I have
resources.
something on that as well. Commissioner Morey.
Okay, a couple of things. I am still collecting styrofoam to take out to North Aurora and peanuts to take to Hillside.
Yeah.
So if you continue to bring that, if you have any, I'll put it in the back of the van before we leave tonight. After our February meeting, I took the initiative of going up to all the commissions throughout the month to propose the idea of creating a shared Zoom space like I witnessed at the Wheaton Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission that they have. Reason being is because not all the commissioners have emails that are available to the public. Usually it's only staff and people who are, like the chairs. So I crafted an email to village staff and all our elected officials and to all the email contacts I could get on the public facing websites. And I presented them all with, I'm sure you haven't seen these, but some of you have. I know I don't have one. It's basically a letter crafting them to, if anybody wants to keep that, to consider creating a shared space.
Yeah, got it.
So we won't have problems like low battery on the audio only and that everybody can use. And then we can, the one picture in this particular was a commission meeting where commissioners are out of town, we're actually able to attend via Zoom. It doesn't have to be Zoom, there's all the multiple platforms and that type of access. And then the second page is their agenda that they put out every month on their website, and it shows the Zoom links for people who want the public who may not be able to make it to the meetings. So this is informational only, not actionable. I'm just gonna keep you informed, and took it to a village board meeting. I took it to coffee with the board, so hopefully they'll be able to, figure out a way of working it out. And finally, Chair Wagner, you mentioned you were at the community fund meeting. You were at the community fund meeting this week? And
No, I was at the prior week.
Oh, the prior week, because there was a meeting 2 days ago.
Right.
And I wasn't able to make that meeting because I had a doctor appointment, but on their agenda was a line item for the Prairie Path cleanup. We're not discussing it. Is it something we're gonna assist them with? Or is this something they're taking over from us? How is that working
The
out?
community project.
So the community focused on Unified Neighbors Commission, the Prairie Path cleanup is April 27th. So this is many, many years ago. We used to handle it. And it's not just, this is the Illinois Prairie Path. There are cleanups going on the length of the Prairie Path and the Great Western Trail, but we used to be part of it. I did get the email that they received from the Illinois Prairie Path, and I was going to reply to them to say, hey, include us, Environmental Concerns Commission, in it. So it's not essentially what they do is they hand out bags. That's the extent of their, so I mean, I think, it would be a good opportunity for us to go and promote Spring Sweep. In fact, I did that last year. We can promote our bike events at the April 27th. So there's nothing that prohibits us from going there and standing, by their table. Essentially what they do is they pass out bags and water and gloves, and that's it.
Wasn't there a concern about the bags that were being used one year, or am I remembering.
I mean, it is kind of a strange, you're collecting plastic in a plastic bag, you're generating more plastic. I haven't found a compostable bag that holds up,
Yeah,
they tear apart easily, they're not,
Right,
the ones I bought are crap, excuse me.
and
And
right. And then, as you might have heard, I might have reported this previously, but there's no, LRS will not accept compostable bags. And they said there's nowhere in the state that will accept them because they don't break down quickly enough in the landfills. So they end up going in the landfills.
Well, plastic bags don't break down.
At all.
At all, right,
1,000
yeah,
years they
yeah.
break down, so.
Right,
Well, my solution at home is like when I buy toilet paper and it comes in those big plastic bags, I carefully cut it and I now have a free plastic bag that I'm reusing.
Right.
So we could get people to bring their own bags that they've reused from.
right,
You could
Yeah.
bring I did, one year I brought a burlap bag,
yeah.
and I just dumped all my stuff into so.
But are we in a position to be able to do anything right now about the plastic bags they're
No,
using?
no.
I just
Yeah.
remember there was a discussion on it previously.
Okay,
That's all I got, thanks.
okay. Commissioner Greco?
I have nothing, thank you.
I will just mention quickly that there's a national walking club, and April 1st through April 8th is National Walking Week. So get up and take a walk.
I will tell my dog that.
I did that today. Does it count? No, April 1st? Okay.
Okay, and anything from our village liaison?
I printed a couple of these beautiful maps if you guys need
Oh,
them.
wonderful, okay.
Spring Sweep.
Oh,
There you go.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
And again, apologies to all, but I won't be able to make it this year. I'm gonna be
all
out
right.
of
Well, who
town.
wants to take charge of the extras? You put it in your
Grab it,
folder with
yeah.
your spring sweep
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, I see e-paint recycling, but we aren't getting the paint recycling, right?
No, we're not getting earth paint,
Ah, okay.
we're getting e-paint recycling.
All right, I missed that. Okay. Oh, and last year, Scarce on the flyers, they only collected some of the stuff that Scarce actually collects. Like they were taking bread tabs, but it wasn't on the flyers. So
I'm putting together a complete list, and I'll get it to Rich and to Suzanne, so that we can get the final, because,
yeah, find out.
Lions Club is not collecting some things, they're not collecting, Lions Club said they were collecting Christmas lights, they're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
And then I need to get a capital metal, a complete list of what they're taking in.
Okay. Yeah. So we won't have Christmas light recycling at all then.
Well, no, they can go to electronics.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was
Right.
gonna mention, I talked to Salerno about it, and he said we have a bin for Christmas lights.
Right.
For, every month.
Because I have some in the garage. So yeah.
So batteries for tools, is that go to Interstate? Tool batteries, the lithium?
Interstate battery is like lead acid batteries,
Okay.
marine batteries,
Car batteries.
Okay,
yeah.
so but not lithium.
Would they take them at Batteries Plus?
I don't know. That's why
Cause
I'm
I usually
asking.
take my ion batteries down there.
Down there, okay.
Okay, I appreciate it, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I said move.
Moved by Commissioner Hill,
Very quickly.
you second, Joe?
Yes.
Or second by Commissioner Morey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I.
Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.